It's dripping off of it. I got a lot on here. Not cool. The things we do for fun. Hello, this is not Hot Ones. It's the show with hot questions and even hotter chicken. Today I have something special planned here. This is my 2021 edition of my Hot Ones Challenge. I picked out 10 all new hot sauces. I got some questions that came in through the community, through YouTube, through Instagram, Facebook, all over, and we're gonna answer those questions today. If you like this kind of video, hit like on it and consider subscribing. Let's jump right into the questions. First one is a fun one. Why do you keep doing this to yourself? I mean, for today, we're doing something special. We're celebrating a milestone, 1,000 subscribers. Thank you so much if you've subscribed. It's amazing to me that that's actually happened. Gotta eat the wings. So this first sauce is Tapatio. Everyday spiciness. I figured for this challenge, I would do it a little bit different. Instead of doing wings, I made what I thought were gonna be tiny chicken nuggets that once I breaded them, they got really big. Actually, it's getting me already. I figured it was a nice thing, do something nice and challenging. I love my spicy stuff, and for the community, for the culture, guys. That's why we do it here. Next question came in from Facebook, a buddy of mine from high school, Greg. His question is, what are your top pizza locations in New York State? That's a hard one. For this one, we actually got a local sauce. This is Dirty Blonde by Rick Orlando, who's been on the channel. This one's a little bit sweeter. Still got a habanero kick. Wow. And before we get too far into this, they're ranked. Most of these sauces don't have Scoville units or scales, so I guessed as far as what they were. When we get to the end, I basically left it in the Hot One style format. As far as favorite pizza places in New York State, my number one favorite place, and I haven't been there probably in 20, 25 years, is L&B Spumoni Garden in Brooklyn. They have this amazing style pizza it's nice and thick, cheese is on the bottom. It's absolutely incredible. But as far as upstate, pizza up here is kind of tough. We're in a college town where that sauce is really, it builds, the heat on that one builds. In upstate here, it's just very spotty. There's a place down by where I work called Marissa's Place where they make really good pizza. The guy's actually from Brooklyn. As far as other places that I really enjoy, my uncle's pizzeria in Oneonta, Pizza Land, amazing place. And then Tino's Pizza in Oneonta as well is another really great place. Locally here, there's not too many amazing options. Prima is our local place here. We like to go there. The next sauce is another Rick Orlando favorite, Purple Haze, and I'll go in and we'll read the question after we eat this one. Another really spicy one. And this one came in, I actually don't know who sent this one in, so if you did leave a comment, sorry, it was hard to kind of compile these across all the social networks. If your current primary career was terminated, what career or money-making venture would you pursue? That's a really interesting one. So I don't know if a lot of people know this who are followers on the channel, but food and YouTube are not my main trade. I'm actually an analytical chemist by trade. So I don't see that position as far as like in the industry. I don't see that going away because pharmaceuticals are one of the most important things other than food. I would probably go into something pertaining to food, probably go into consulting and marketing. I don't want to be working in a kitchen or, running a deli or anything like that, but I would love to help out with stuff like branding and marketing and stuff like that. And I'm hoping that building through the YouTube channel here, helps me build that kind of experience. Next question came in by my buddy Metal Frog. He's been on a couple videos already. What is the strangest dessert on paper but delicious when tasted? And for this one, this one came from Heatonist in Brooklyn, which is the company that makes this stuff, the hot ones. Actually, Cassie got me a whole bunch of sauces from them. I got a shout out to her for that. Garlic and pepperoncino hot sauce. We got some yard work going on here. Shout out to Cassie on that one. So here we go. Again, this one probably should have been the first sauce because it's a lot sweeter, but I'm going off the best info I can get off the internet. Strangest dessert on paper, but delicious when tasted. All right. So down at New World Home Kitchen in Saugerties, when Rick Orlando used to run that place, he used to have this dessert called like the Stoner's Delight or like the Ultimate Stoner Sundae or something. And it was brownies, chocolate ice cream, chocolate sauce, chocolate nibs. And it sounds, like on the surface, it sounds like it would be really good, but it's also pretty strange. It's a lot of chocolate. And when you taste it, the cocoa nibs made it a little more bitter. So it was an interesting dessert. So you'd expect that from, the high level chef of New York State like Rick Orlando is, but it was also with the name like the Stoner's Delight, or it was something to that effect. I don't remember now. It's been a few years since I've had it. Something like that is just, it was amazing. So that probably was the strangest dessert I've ever had. Generally, when I go to restaurants, I order what I would consider normal desserts. If it sounds strange, I don't really go too far for it. Next up, we have Explain That Gram, where we do a deep dive into the Instagram. What I wanted to do was find a place where I wasn't doing the derryx blog and I wasn't doing the YouTube channel. So I picked out 3 pictures from there that I think could use a little more explanation than what was on there. And for that sauce, we have, this one is to make me uncomfortable. This El Yucateco black hot sauce, I really don't like the taste. So the challenge here is just eating it, not really the heat, but it's also pretty hot. The problem with it is it's a smoky chipotle sauce. And for me, when you're using something like chipotle and a hot sauce, it just gets way too overloaded. Anyway, yeah. Not awful, but nah. So for this first picture, I always tell people there was a real clean division in Food Network programming that happened around the mid-2000s. Now, I grew up watching Emerald, and I remember being a kid, one of my biggest inspirations as a chef and as, a home cook and all that, and even as an entertainer, is Emerald. I watched Emerald live every night. It was one of those things, my brother's even sick of Emerald live, and to this day, we got YouTube TV, and there's a channel that actually runs Emerald live and Essence of Emerald every day. The night that Guy Fieri, that just got me. The night Guy Fieri won Next Food Network Star is the turning point in Food Network programming. After that, and I'm not saying it's Guy's fault, I have a lot of respect for Guy, another one of my favorite personalities on the Food Network. This night was where things changed. And what really changed is the programming went from instructional, where you had kind of these personalities that really knew how to cook and were showing you how to cook. From then, you went to this more competition where we had Iron Chef America and Chopped and all these other shows, which when they started out were very good, but now it's just been a little bit too much. So this is the turning point in that. This was a funny one. So this actually sparked my Guy Fieri Halloween costume video and concept. This is went to lunch with my friend Jamie, who I work with, and Ryan, who passed away a few years ago. And we had to get a pose in front of the Jimmy John's, poster that's in every Jimmy John's, because a few days earlier, Guy Fieri had actually taken a selfie in front of the same thing. So this is us trying to recreate that moment. This was, you can see the watermark there from Reebok Spartan Race. I ran a Spartan Race, and the funny thing was, at this point in time, my fitness was kind of declining. I had my coworkers on my Spartan Race team, and they kind of pulled me through it. A few days earlier, I had a double ear infection, and I was like, I don't know how I'm gonna do this, but I did it anyway. The hardest part was you could skip the Spartan challenges where, you're throwing javelins and, climbing up weird stuff. But the one thing that you can't skip is the fact that it's uphill, up a mountain, and this was in Tuxedo, New York, which is actually about 20 minutes from where I grew up. And it was grueling and harsh, and it was a very hot day. I think, yeah, it was actually June 5th, which is, you know, exactly 4 years ago. This particular moment is the fire jump. So at the end of every Spartan race, you can jump over a fire pit. I was like, you know what, screw it. I'm gonna just do the jump and that's it. So I got a little bit of running momentum and I'm jetting, right? They caught a really good moment here where I got a good air, okay? That jump was downhill. Now here's the funny part. I remember my feet hitting the ground, but I don't remember the next 10 seconds. I know that I had tumbled and I was literally like vertical. I know that happened, and I remember being very sore and I remember being all scraped up. It was just an amazing moment, and Spartan races are hard. Next up, we have another hot sauce that was gifted from Cassie. This one's called Roasted Reaper Hellfire Devil's Blend Hot Sauce. Lots of hellish names in that one. So we'll eat that and we'll read the question. And you can see I put a pretty big dollop of all of these on there. So this is no cap. This is a real Hot Ones challenge. Pretty spicy. How long have you been in the industry and how did you start out? That one came in from Colina Max Cooking. You should follow their channel. Amazing stuff on that channel. So, you know, I'm not in the food industry. I grew up working in my dad's deli, and I talked about that quite a lot in my live videos and stuff. In fact, I have a whole, marketing thing with my new ebook that kind of is inspired by my dad's deli. But that's the extent of my experience in the food industry. Like I said, I'm a chemist by trade, and I do YouTube here, where I highlight food and do some recipes and stuff like that. So I'm not in the food industry. I'm also not in the YouTube industry. We just joined the partner program. Ooh, that's got a kick. And that's basically my extent of being a YouTuber for profit. And all profits go right back into the channel. So not technically in the industry. This is just a hobby. For this next question, we have another sauce that came from the collection that Cassie got me. This one is Monk's Barbados style hot sauce. It says the hot sauce of Montreal, which love Montreal. Got a whole playlist of vlogs from there. Wow. Really big habanero kick on that one. Oh man. I love Barbados hot sauce, but after what we've done so far here, it's definitely building. I'm really dreading these last three. Anyway, what sneaker is the crown jewel in your collection? So, one of my favorite things to kind of, I guess, fantasize is all the new sneakers that come out. For a while there, I was actually into a lot of them. Yeezys, Jordans, and I've amassed a little collection. It's not a lot. I probably have, between slides and sneakers, probably about 20 or 25 pairs. But I'm gonna give you three. First one are the Yeezys that I have. These are called the Yachel. And these are a fun shoe because I bought them for a review for the channel, and they got a lot of nice colors on it. So that's a good one. It's heavy in the rotation. They're also super comfortable. Next, we got another special pair. These are Jordan 1s in the Chicago colorway. This is the bread toe, black and red, that Cassie got me for my 40th birthday when we actually went to Montreal. She actually got them for the trip for me. But the sneaker that I probably love the most that's in my collection, and I'm doing everything I can to preserve this thing, are Onitsuka Tiger ASIC, basically, in yellow. Now, you may recognize this shoe. This is the shoe from Game of Death, Bruce Lee, or Kill Bill if you're younger, So this is the shoe that really started it all, actually. A lot of history in this shoe. So it's not just the Bruce Lee inspiration, Game of Death. This is the shoe that started Nike. When Phil Knight started out, he was actually selling these sneakers for Onitsuka Tiger in Japan. And he stole the idea to make the Nike Cortez, which is what Nike built itself off of. So that's a really cool story. Very much the shoe that in my collection that I prize the most. I actually didn't spend a lot of money on it. It was only 70 or 80 bucks back about almost like 9 or 10 years ago. This next one, we're gonna read the question first because once we eat this sauce, I've done it a number of times. I did it in my first Hot Ones challenge. I've done it on some live sessions. This sauce is evil and it's terrible. Don't eat it. Don't do this at home. So let's read the question. What was the most significant moment in pop culture history that shaped who you are? Great question. Definitely uncomfortable. All right, let's go. I don't know why I do this. And you could see that like it's dripping off of it. I got a lot on here. Christ. Oh. It just tastes like it's awful. Gonna hiccup soon. Ah. All right, most pop culture moment. Take a sip of my coffee. So, I think of two moments. I got some ice cream. Oh my God. Not cool. Not cool at all. So this ice cream, oh man, comes from Stewart Shops. I can't, oh man. Ooh. I ate a lot of it too. That's the most I've eaten in one sitting. My God. Oh boy, shaking. Oh. All right, pop culture. Hulk Hogan dropping the leg on Randy Savage, Bash at the Beach, 1996. July 6, 1996. That's number one. Oh, can't take it. It just builds. I'll just keep going. God. This ice cream is awesome. It's called Piece of Cake, which is ironic because this is hard. Butter cookie ice cream, milk chocolate icing swirl, butter cookie ice cream, milk chocolate icing swirl, yellow cake pieces. Oh man, awful, awful. The things we do for fun. Let's move on to the next one while we're still a little numb. I had to try Steve-O's hot sauce for your butthole. It probably sucks. There's you could see chunks of garlic and there's a lot of pepper seeds. Oh man. Actually, it tastes pretty good. There's some ghost pepper taste in there. It's not a bad sauce. Let's read the question for this. What video game moment would you go back to? Oh wow, that's a cool. Honestly, I don't remember that being there. This is a crazy story. You guys probably aren't even going to believe it. And we're suffering here. That sauce, it's pretty hot. We're still probably suffering from the bomb too. So I was pretty active on Facebook. At the time, we didn't know what Facebook was and whatever. It was a new thing, 2008, you know. I was super sick. I remember having a cold for weeks, you know, like at least like 2 weeks. And I remember one night just like browsing on Facebook, and I got a friend request from Nick Swardson. Now, I didn't think it was really him. I thought it was like an impersonator. But I clicked through the profile, and what I could see was it was kind of like a personal page. And I think earlier, either that day or that week, I had tweeted about watching his Seriously Who Farted special, which I thought was incredible. Probably one of my favorite comedy acts of all time. So maybe like he was crawling for that. And so I didn't believe it. I accepted the friend request and left a comment. I had, you know, posted that I was really sick. And he left a comment like, "Hey dude, sick belt." At the time, my profile picture was me holding my WCW NWO spray painted, you know, title belt replica. So it was a highly personal comment. You know, it wasn't like a you know, spam type thing. So I'm like, all right, whatever. I left him a comment saying, you know, I love the comedy special. You know, I didn't think it was really going to go anywhere. This is going to tie back to video games in just a second. We exchanged messages, and I still didn't believe it was him. In our message exchange, we actually exchanged Xbox Live gamer tags. And at the time, Xbox 360 was a big thing. Call of Duty, I think Call of Duty 3 or Call of Duty 4. I don't remember exactly which Call of Duty. But one night, we actually linked up and partied up. And my brother was actually there. And we're on Xbox Live talking to Nick Swardson. And he has a pretty distinct voice. And, you know, we just couldn't believe that it was real. And that probably was my favorite video game moment for me of all time. I know it's highly specific. It's really not even technically a video game moment, but we stayed up. Like, I remember I had to go to work the next day. I think it was a Thursday night. We stayed up and we gamed with Nick Swardson until it must have been like 4:35 in the morning, and I had to get up to go to work at like 6:30. So an amazing, incredible moment. Couldn't believe that it really was him. And that's probably my favorite video game moment of all time. I mean, it ties back to the hot sauce, you know, I guess a little bit. Nick Swardson was on Steve-O's show last year. We suffered through the entire gauntlet. You know what? I'm not even going to say most of this was suffering. Really, just this one was suffering. This sauce doesn't deserve to even exist. But it's the last dab. We already got a piece of chicken that has a decent amount on there, but for tradition's sake, we got to add a little more. What's a little more chili pepper here? Among friends, right? The only problem with this sauce is it's really, like, thick. There you go. There's a dab. That's enough. These are fun, but it's really painful. All right, here we go. Last dab. Oh, I gotta read the question. What is the hardest thing about being on YouTube? Rah. Before I answer this question, I'm gonna chew. This sauce, although it's very spicy, is not evil. It's what I would call a reasonable sauce. This sauce here is just like, there's pepper extracts and stuff like that. This is made with like naturally bred chili peppers, and it tastes really spicy, but unbearably so. It's not for the faint of heart, but it ain't the animal this is. Hardest thing about being on YouTube is getting seen. Getting to 1,000 subscribers was really hard. And you kind of have to like put your head down and forget about the fact that people are or aren't subscribing, and just kind of resolve to the fact that if you make good videos and people watch them for long enough, YouTube is going to promote your content. Okay. The problem is you get all these subscribers, right? So I have over 1,000 now. YouTube doesn't actually give your videos to those people. Okay. It's for various reasons. Maybe some of those people aren't active on YouTube, so they're not using the recommendation system. So the hardest thing is getting your videos seen by the people that you want to see them. And yeah, so you try to leverage your social media networks, but by doing that, you actually kind of hamstring your videos, because people click in because they think they're helping you, and they'll watch for 5-10 seconds, and that ends up hurting the video in the long run. Whereas, you know, if somebody organically found your video on YouTube and was like, oh, hey, this guy's making kale. I love recipes making kale. That's a really good recipe. I'm going to subscribe to that person. That person's going to be more of a valuable subscriber to you than, you know, the casual person who clicks through Facebook or Insta or Twitter, who, you know, wants to see you do well but doesn't want to actually sit through a 5 to 10 minute video of yours. So that's the harsh reality of it. And that's the hardest thing, is like, you know, you kind of want your family and your friends to support you, but they're not technically the right people to support what you're doing. You really want people who are interested in the value you're providing as a content creator to do what you got to do. And that's the hardest thing about being on YouTube. I will say though, like, the whole concept of putting together videos, doing B-roll, editing, all that stuff is also very hard, but that's one of those things where it's more about putting in the time for that stuff. So the challenge, like, I've gotten, I would say, passable at editing. I hope that you guys enjoy my videos. You know, it's not just, you know, me sitting around. I'm trying to throw transitions, B-roll, you know, make it interesting. So that stuff is hard too, but really the hardest thing is discovery. It's, you know, if your video is not getting seen, it's very discouraging, and there's no way to crack the code other than to actually make good videos and, you know, hope that people stop by and watch it and react well to it. One of those things is a like, so like the video, and that might help. I don't know. I don't know enough about YouTube to know whether or not those feedback mechanisms are perfect.
Perfect.
So, is what it is. So with the exception of this ridiculous, stupid, horrible, awful sauce, this was a lot of fun, guys. I hope you guys had a good time too. I'm gonna try to plug something real quick. I have a link to my famous derryx. It's an ebook that I have through Buy Me a Coffee, and then I have a whole merch shop, including this hat, which, hey, this logo is pretty amazing. You know, it took inspiration from my dad's deli, but I thought it was the perfect thing to do. Pick some of that up. That really helps us out here. Be sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and if you want to see me suffer through 10 completely different hot sauces, I'll leave a link to that right here. You can check that out. Thanks a lot. Have an awesome day, and we will see you in the next video.